Communion. That's what we're here about. This title was Holy Communion. And we're talking about the Crown Chakra, this opening that we have to our own enlightenment and our awareness of our spiritual connection with everything. Our spiritual connection with every person, with everything that has life in it. Our spiritual connection with the source that authors everything good and beautiful and holy. You know, so this Crown Chakra is where God meets God. It's where we honor the light within each other. It's the namaste moment. You know, the light within me honors the light within you. It's the Holy Communion. Some people call it Holy Communion. It's the Crown Chakra. And we've come through the 7 chakras, you know, blessing our roots and blessing our connections and our relationships and our creativity and our passion and our power and our hearts and our capability to give and receive love and our intuition and our words, you know. And now we move up. The lotus opens up to the source, you know, to our holy divine, to our divinity. And in 7 days, we took seven chakras to get here. And in 7 days, we're going to have Hanukkah, which is this festival of lights, and Christmas on the same day, which is really great for those of you who sit on the fence. And there's a lot of you here, actually, which is nice, you know. So they both happen, you know, miraculously the same day this year. And both of those celebrations are about the birthing of light into the world. So, you know, in the next 7 days, we might want to just go back through those 7 conversations and revisit so we can really clear out any stagnation or any congestion around our being able to be a true vessel for this light, you know. And this week is about the Crown Chakra. And, of course, I have my crown on because, why wouldn't ya? And crowns are worn by kings and queens and deities and birthday girls and beauty queens, right? Kings and queens and deities and birthday girls and deities and beauty queens. That's like almost like a country song, right? And so it's like, you know, those people, those special people, you know, who are wearing crowns, and the rest of us are just like, wow, when will I get to wear my crown? You know, today, turns out. So the rest of us feel a little bit unworthy. But that's only because that's our choice. Now, who says that we're unworthy of the crown? And what does the crown mean? So I had this acting coach in New York City, Sylvia Lee. Oh my God, God bless her. She was 1 billion years old, and she was always telling everyone she was 40. And I'm like, they're not buying it. You know, you're a good actress, but you got to get a little better script. She was a great acting coach, though. And she would wear tiaras, you know? And she was about this tall naturally, but with her crown, she was about this tall. And it was just delightful to see somebody just like show up in a crown. So yeah, because we do reserve them for special days and special ways, you know? So the crown represents power. It represents legitimacy. Interesting, right? It represents victory and triumph and glory and righteousness and resurrection. In 7 days, we're celebrating that birth, that light, that Prince of Peace, who's also called the King of Kings. And it's funny to think of a baby as a king, isn't it? Like, I always thought, like, how do you get to be a king? A little baby. How do you get that big title? You know, in King of Kings, that's like he was wearing 2 crowns on a little baby. It seems like too much, right? But the way he got to be the King of Kings is he was born that way, like Lady Gaga would say. He was just born that way. A king isn't voted in or out of power. A king is born into the bloodline. Interesting, right? That's how we got to be born that way. So this little baby is the King of Kings. And if this Christ is the King of Kings, the ruler of rulers, riddle me this. Who are all these kings that he's king of? Anybody? Yeah, right? Where's your freaking crown, ladies and gentlemen? It's you. You are the kings. He says the ruler of rulers. You're the one who rules. Where's your kingdom? It's up here. You know, this is your temple. You know, are you ruling with peace or tyranny? You get to decide how you're going to rule your kingdom. You are the King of Kings. You rule. And I don't mean that in a 6th grade yearbook kind of way. You know? You actually rule. I mean this literally. You are the king and queens of God. You're responsible for bringing heaven to earth, bringing the kingdom to earth. So you might want to consider, what does that mean as we move into this new year? Because I'm ready to kick it like a queen. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to kick it like a queen. And I know a lot of you are, or you wouldn't be in this conversation. You know, How did you get to be born into this bloodline? How did you get to wear that king and queen? How did you become the ruler? Because you were born that way. That's it. You were born for this. You were born for this. So you're the king. As God is the King of Kings and Jesus is the King of Kings, so too are you the King of Kings, the Queens of Queens. So imagine living in a kingdom where there are all kings and queens, right? A kingdom where each king and queen knew their worth, knew their jurisdiction, knew their province. There would be no need for popes and priests and presidents if we all took care of our own little peace, our own peace of mind, which is what we have domain over, which is easier said than done, believe me. I lose my peace of mind all the time. I'm always looking in the backyard. Thank you, Chris, for sharing this morning. I'm always looking in the backyard like, how come that didn't show up? How come they're not here? Kathy's like, look who is here. I'm like, right, what am I doing? So, we all need to be bitch slapped sometimes and woken up to, this is it. This is the beauty of it. So we get to the crown chakra. And, up into the crown chakra, before the crown chakra, we got to the third eye, which was seeking to know the vision of God. We talked about that last week. What is the great idea of God? Let me be in alignment with the great idea of God. I want to know what the great idea of God is. I am seeking to know this. When we move up into the Christ consciousness, the crown, that's when we cease to seek. When we just know, when we know who we are and what we came for and whose we are and who walks with us. So this isn't a state too far off. Although, and you've experienced it, You've experienced this. When you laugh, that's a lightening up. That's when you become enlightened. When you hold that baby, you're like, oh, wow. Like there is a knowing of beauty and holiness that you were born for that moment. When you go have a deep meditation, when you have a contemplation in nature, there is that moment of awakening to your divine. And the thing is that it's hard for us to maintain it, because we live in this scattered, broken, fractured world where we hang our worth on other things, So how do you maintain that? First of all, we want to think about how we get the crown. It's a beautiful scenario of how we get the crown. The newborn baby shows us exactly how to get the crown. It's a great teacher for us. They become the king. To become the king, we have to love like little children, And when a baby is born into the birth canal, the doctor says, the baby's crowning. The baby's crowning, the baby's crowning, the baby's crowning. And if the baby does it right, he can enter in a very graceful way. There's only one pose the baby needs to take on. It's a pose we take on every single morning with Miracles Live 365. It's one holy pose of holy yoga. Do you know what it is? We tuck our chin. That's what the baby does to come down the birth canal. It tucks its chin so that it can crown. And this is for us too. That's the humility of a good king. To know that we can tuck our chin, turn inward to that divine, and in that way we can maintain that crown consciousness. Because there is a higher power for each of us. We don't have to rule alone. And that's the good news. So the child is crowning and it enters in, and this is what we need to do as kings and queens. We need to master the art of tucking our heads. I'm so glad I put the T there instead of the F there, because I read it, the F, and I was like, that's not what that word is. There is no edit on my mouth any longer. So tucking our heads, because on our own, we can do nothing. That's what the King of Kings told us. Like, of myself, I'm nothing. But within me, there is a power. Within you, there is a power that can do all things. And all we need to do is to bow our heads, our hearts, and our agendas to this power. It's the divine love. It's not segregated to any one church or temple or synagogue, one deity. It is in all things, and you have equal access to it. But it requires a smattering of humility. But that's okay, A humble man doesn't think less of himself, he just thinks of himself less. It's exhausting to think so much of yourself. You will get in such a riddle and such a twist when you think of yourself. Believe me, I was just there this morning thinking of myself, And that's so stupid. But hey, it's forgivable, A Course in Miracles says, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? So in humility we can say, I don't know what anything is for, I don't know what anything is for. Gosh, it's so refreshing the more you say that. the more freedom you have. In A Course in Miracles it says, today we practice true humility, abandoning the false pretense by which the ego seeks to prove its arrogance. Only the ego can be arrogant, but truth is humble in acknowledging its mightiness. Truth is humble in acknowledging its mightiness. So within you there's a mighty, mighty river of love. It's changelessness, it's eternal wholeness, it's all-encompassing, God's perfect gift to his beloved son and daughter. We lay aside the arrogance which says that we're sinners and guilty and afraid and ashamed of what we are, and we lift our hearts in true humility instead to this divine creator who has said, you're immaculate, you're powerful, you're love, and nothing less. So that's one attribute of a good king, and that's how we maintain it, is to stay humble with our source, to continue to tuck our chin. And the next idea for a good king is consistency. You know, don't just do it on Sunday, do it every freaking day. Consistency is king, that's the saying. Consistency is king. Malcolm Gladwell wrote this book about 10,000 hours, and he said if you want greatness, if you want to know yourself as magnificent, as a genius, you know, as a world class in any field, you got to put in 10,000 hours. You know, and that's just the mathematical equation, but basically means like if it's important to you, you got to show up to it. So staying consistent in love and the practice of love, you know, and let me tell you, I'm the most inconsistent person in the world. You know, I can't say that today, but I have been in the past the most inconsistent person in the world. And when I first got the call to do Miracles Live 365 every single day for 365 days, now it's been 4 years, I would have been like, and I did, I was like, that's not me. You got the wrong person. I'm not Joe Consistent. Like, I'll make it a week, maybe. And then I'm going to be out of here for whatever reason I can figure out. So, you know, that lives within each of us as well. But consistency is a skill that can be developed. And when you develop it, it is so mighty. It is so mighty. And it helps you in every field. You know, the thing that keeps you from having your good is an inconsistent thought. If you want that thing, you have to stay consistent with it and really align yourself and let go of anything else that's going to knock on the door of saying you can't have it, you're not good enough, it's too late. All of that has to be swept away every single morning. Sweep all that dust off your front porch, however you do your spiritual practice. But really stay true to that one river of thought and let that river carve you out, as we talked about last week. So this consistency is my spiritual practice. Being consistent is a part of my spiritual practice. And it has helped me to be a better problem solver, better, more productive, more compassionate, have greater wisdom. Believe me when I tell you, it's given me greater wisdom because things I say I don't even know that I know sometimes. So the ability to speak from a place of authority comes with consistency. And this is the awakening of a king in me, but like this is the truth for you. There's a king within you, you know? And the king also says, my words mean something. We're impeccable with our words, you know? So you know when you're really honoring the king and queen within you, when your words actually mean something. A king has authority in his word. And what he says goes for everyone. So he's better be pretty impeccable about what he's saying, right? And that will demonstrate your life. Other qualities of a king, besides being consistent and humble, are benevolent, charismatic, commanding, composed, comprehensive, so understandable. You know, there's this, we wanted to do a growth model here called the meta model. And we've talked about it and talked around it and talked through it a billion times. It's basically creating small groups to support the bigger group. But the thing is, it is not comprehensible for the average, normal, little conversation. It's too big. We should be directed by what actually works, you know? So the wonderful thing is that the model that we implement here will be something that is informed by each of us. And that's going to be beautiful, whatever that is. We're actually already in the midst of it. It's expressing itself as we gather each time and as we come together to seek first and tuck our heads. But it's not something that we have to educate or navigate or massage. It's something that should be easy and gentle. So we're doing it differently. And I'm okay with that, you know. So anyway. So we're moving from the throat chakra, you know, so what that means is that these king qualities are qualities that are extensions of God qualities. All of those qualities are extensions of God qualities. Unhealthy king, you'll notice when you're in the unhealthy king, when you're arrogant, when you're in control, when you're demanding, when you're extravagant, haughty, heartless, inflexible, intolerant, overbearing, ruthless, and oppressive. Been there, done that. Boy, that's fun to play on TV, but not in real life. because they have consequences for these things. So the king qualities are God qualities. That's all you have to know, is your king qualities are God qualities. And we're responsible in bringing in those qualities so we can bring forth the kingdom, right? So if we move from the throat chakra of speaking our words and from the third eye of intuiting what God's desire is for us to the crown chakra, and then as we move that way, we move from proclamation and declaration to demonstration. We're here to demonstrate, you know? We're not here to talk. We cease to seek. We move into it is, you know? We cease to seek love. We stop seeking love and we let love be exactly as it is right now. We recognize love right here as it is. And we demonstrate from that place. You know, because words can get in the way of our kingdom, of our holiness. We could go around all day and night saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, you've done it, I've done it. You know, all these great plans that we make. But if we talk about it, sometimes we can water down the actions that need to be taken in order to demonstrate it. So we go from proclamation and we move into demonstration. And we're moving into it by being of service to each other. You know, by being of service to each other, that's where our strength lives. You know, it says, many people say actually, in order to lead, you have to serve. You know, service is a really big part of taking care. I mean, look at any good mother, any good father. They put the little people first, you know. Kings and queens, good ones, put the people first, you know. They don't go first. So think about where you are to be of service to others. I wrote here, this seems backwards, but it's not about you. Yeah, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about God within us. So as we tuck our head, then we can don our crown. And the one designed and designated just for you is available to you. And you're not here to be a sidekick. You know, you're not here to hook your wagon on someone else's star. You're here to shine in your ministry. That's really important. There's a Christ consciousness within you that's seeking to express itself in a really bold and beautiful way. And it doesn't require that you hook on to anyone else's. Just like the night sky. You see all those billions of stars in the sky, and we think, oh, that one's really shiny. I should like move over there. But it's like, no. Stay right where you are, because you're needed right where you are to shine right what you've got. And right what you've got is perfect. There's a little story that I read this week from the Bible. You know, I don't tout that book out too much because, of course, Miracles is my book. I am what it says I am. I can do what it says I can do. But the Bible, there's a story about this mom who goes to Jesus and says, hey, look, I want to put my son on one side of you and my other son on the other side of you. Like, make them your right and left-hand mans. And she bows down before Jesus and says this. And Jesus says, you know, you don't know what you're asking for. You know, because like my way isn't going to be like, it might look all fancy and good, but this is one of service. So it's not like we're going to ride the gravy train, you know. And even more than that, I can't give you what you're asking for, because I would never make you or anyone else secondary to anyone else. Like, I don't need a right and left-hand man. I need you to be brilliant right where you are. At least that's my interpretation of that story. You know, and so it's the same with us. Like, don't try and be, you know, I mean, yes, support each other, but really know what's yours to do. So, so in regards to our community and our vision for our community is about care. And it is how we begin to demonstrate. And I had this experience this past week, which was so beautiful. I really wanted a closet, you know. I have a closet, but it was packed, you know. And we had this other room that just had this like huge desk in it. It was Will's dad's desk. And I was like, geez, I really wish we had more space in our closet. And Will's like, let me move that desk downstairs and you can make that little room your closet. And I was like, oh my God, that was really cool. So I said yes to that. And then I put it out on Facebook and I said, anybody know how to build a closet? And Ray saw it and he was like, hey, I know somebody who knows how to do that. And he sent it over to Dave. And Dave was like, I'm going to come by and build you a closet. And I was like, yes. So we had to bring the desk downstairs. And, you know, it's this beautiful desk that was Will's dad. So we were going to put it in the basement. I was like, we can't put this in the basement. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to put it. We don't know where we're going to put it. We have no room in our house. So last Sunday, I'm standing in front of my friend Beth Grant, and she says, I want to get that session with you to help, you know, write this thing. And I said, okay, great. You know what? I'll be of service to you. I'll come over to your house. She said, well, if you come over to my house, we got no place to sit. I go, why is that? She goes, well, I don't have a table or chairs. I go, well, we got to manifest that. She said, yeah, I just haven't manifested it yet. And I love that she used that word. I said, okay, great. Well, what kind of table and chairs do you want? I asked her. And she said, well, I guess if I could choose anything, I would like a bar with a couple of bar stools. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, let's know that that's done. So we get home to our house that very same day, about 2 hours later. We're moving the desk downstairs, and I go, we can't put this in the basement. It's too beautiful. Let's put it on the front porch where the bar and the stools are that we never use. You know? So we start moving the bar, and I'm like, wait a minute! I know just the person. I take a picture, I'm like, would you like something like this? She's like, well, by golly, I would. And I'm like, okay, it's yours, right? 2 hours she manifested that thing, right? But now it's stuck at my house, and she's over there, and two women, so she says, I just need someone to move that. I'm sure you're going to manifest that too, Beth. So she calls up Melanie, and Melanie's like, yeah, I'm going to come over and help you move that bar with Will. So Melanie's about to get into her car to come over to my house to help Will move this table for her friend Beth when her husband, Jared, we've heard about him before, haven't we? Jared steps up and says, hey, honey, look it, like that's not your jurisdiction. I'm a guy, let me do that for you. And then he comes over to my front porch and he says to me, I don't know if we met before. And I said, well, I know your wife and your kids, and they're so beautiful. He said, my kids are only beautiful because of my wife. And then he helps my husband take this table over to Beth. And that's what's happening here. We're not in the business of proclamation. We're in the business of demonstration. And that's who we're here to be.
Amen. Yes. Amen.
So we also have, along with that, a graduation. A beautiful graduation. So all the graduates come on up. And I want to speak a little word to them, and then they're going to just share what's on their heart about their own journey and their own declarations, proclamations, and demonstrations. All right. Do you want the microphone? Yes, yes. So before you begin, these people have shown up every single morning on Miracles Live 365 and have done the lessons, the meditations. And I just wanted to read this part for you from A Course in Miracles. It says, you go with God and God goes with you. If you stumble, God picks you up. If you forget the way, God will remind you. If you wander off, God will call you back. Today quickens your footsteps, so move more certainly knowing that God goes with you wherever you go. And there is one who takes the journey with you, that Holy Spirit, that internal compass. Share your doubts and fears a little while so that you may come to recognize that the road by which all fears and doubts are all overcome. That there's one who walks with you who understands uncertainty and pain, although they have no value in it. And now you're called to see the world in love. You're called to be a savior for others, to ask to remain with those who you teach and see what they see. So basically, where you're called to go, somebody's going to tell you broken stories and you get to see what they see, but not believe it. You get to recognize that there's another way, a more peaceful way, a more purposeful way that will bring you and rise you above all that. And you will see miracles each time that you help a brother learn that there is a way out of misery and pain, that there is a Christ consciousness that gets reborn every time a brother's mind is turned towards the light within himself, where he looks for God. And God forgets no one, so don't be hung up or tricked by the illusion of your brother's really impressive broken story. It's always bullshit. Today you are the voice, the eyes, the feet of love, the hands of love, and holy is your name. Your glory is undefiled forever. Your holiness is now complete as God established it. And you are his sons, his daughters, his teachers, his kings, his queens. Rule well, and you are an extension of God's love. And let God lead you, and surrender into the confidence of God's sure direction and grace. And you'll be led places that God will have you lead, and it's best if you don't try to renegotiate the contract. It's best if you try not to wrestle with the plan. God has a plan for you, and it's best if you show up, rejoice in it, tell the truth, pay attention, love like crazy. Crazy? Yeah, because it's crazy to put other people first. But it's that crazy love. That's how we become kings. So, This is for you, and it's a little pearl. You're each getting a pearl, and it's a symbol of taking the grit of your life and turning it into the classroom of grace. And then there's a little thing that says laugh on it. So you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, there's so much to say, which I'm not going to, because it's just too much. But first of all, Kathy, do you know you led me here, right? Did we ever have this conversation?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So I ran into Kathy like a year and a half ago. We knew each other 20 years ago, and I really just I knew she was going to be at Fitzgerald. I had to see her. I had to go. She led me to Maureen. Anyway, I'm here. And the thing about the 365 calls that I love the most is that it gave me a place to every single day plug in. Yeah. And I needed that. That helped me be consistent and to like sort of clean my slate every day. And it just, and our Thursday night calls, I mean, it's just such a gift. And then when you have Thursday morning calls, Thursday night and Friday morning, it's like, oh my God, it's like trifecta. But the thing that I think is most valuable for me that I got out of this is peace. And I've never been this peaceful in my life, ever. And 2016 was, I think, probably my best year. Aww. And I'm super excited for 2017. I can't wait to do it again. Because I know there's a bazillion nuggets. I mean, I can just already see them out there. And I'm very grateful for, I did try to read the book by myself. That didn't work. It kept slamming on me. But, Maureen so graciously translates the lessons every day. And I don't know how I would do it without a teacher and without you, so I'm very grateful and thank you. And I love you.
Bonnie is one of the thirstier students. We got thirsty students here. Bonnie and Mary and all these women up here, like they get on every day, and it's amazing. And I want to thank you for creating a piece of artwork that's up there now, but Katie listened to the lesson and caused it to create this artwork, and it's been amazing to watch you bloom into like this artist. And I mean, she works with the kids that we want to forget about, the kids who are just broken and we want to define, and she sees within them these walking angels. I don't know how you do what you do, but I'm so glad that you do it because I can't. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And of all the amazing times, my sisters are here. They just walked over.
Oh, the fun sister.
So I love Course in Miracles so much. I'm actually doing the double dip, right? So I'm on the 6:45 call, and then I've been doing the 8:20 call. And yes, I couldn't say enough about it. I feel like my favorite thing would have to be that now I feel like I have a way to access more solutions. And even if I'm feeling lost in something, I feel like now I have this like toolkit under my belt. It's like I have a way to find peace in all situations. And so things that used to seem heavy seriously do not seem heavy. And when you said with work, especially, now I feel like I can actually enter that. Situations that seem difficult, even if students being aggressive, and really genuinely not be affected by it. Except for to think about I really don't know what anything is for. How can I look at this differently? How can I really help that student? So anyway, I just couldn't be more thankful. One of my favorite lessons, I know last time I shared, was I will step back and let God lead the way, but still one of my favorites. Another one of my faves is those who seek to reach the truth cannot fail.
Amen.
And for me, that just instantly makes me feel like, even if I'm in a moment of struggle, that I'm not going to fail. Yeah. And it just instantly just makes me feel like, it's going to be okay, and there's a way.
Amen. Yay! Yay! Oh, I love it. My favorite is, and forgive me because this is sort of like, a Miracles Live 365 party, but I do it twice a year. Give me a break. Is there's nothing my holiness cannot do. And you're another one who I see your life, and every time I'm in a rough patch, I'm like, thank God, I know Joan has it worse. Thank you. You've helped me buckle up and move forward. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you do it. In the same way that Katie, like, I don't know how you do it, but you do it, but I know that you do it with grace. And you've been such a friend. And when Ryan was deciding to move from a girl bedroom to a boy bedroom, Joan was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to come over and paint her bedroom. And I was like, you're like the transgender fairy godmother. So this is for you, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oops. So I would kind of call myself the half-ass miracle follower this year, but even just doing it, not every single day, confession time, but that before I started, I kind of felt like I truly believed that God hated me. That was kind of my thought, life sucks, God hates me. But now I don't feel that anymore, and I feel like it's been a tough year too. It's been a real tough year, but it's helped me, get through it and get rid of the God hates me thoughts. So it's been super beneficial.
Oh, God, thanks. Okay, Mary. All right.
These are for you from all of us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My favorite quote from A Course in Miracles is, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And so after 2 years, the Course has taught me that I am the light of the world and that I am perfect just the way that I am. Although I was just so filled with judgment, judgy, mostly of myself. And I thought that if I just beat up on myself enough, that I would be okay. I remember when I was around 5 or 6, believing that if I was harsh and strong on myself, that the harshness and the criticism that I got from my parents wouldn't hurt as much. I now see that they meant well. This summer I stood up and I later kind of felt embarrassed about lamenting about my mother and just how I didn't feel loved. And I've been working on this for over 3 decades. I just thought, there's got to be another way. I just felt so much pain every day. And by being vulnerable here and sharing how I just had so much unpeace with my mother, so much hurt, that I'm free. I'm free of it. I have peace with my mom, with my dad, with everybody, especially with my own self. And the Course has really been a big part of that, including this place. And thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. In A Course in Miracles, we say, like, we're all teachers, we're all knee to knee and eye to eye, and we're all here to bring the gift that most delights us. So, each of you have been such an important part of this community. Like, Miracles Live 365 is something that I do, and if you want information on it, you can connect with me, and I would love everyone to be on that wake-up call, and I can easily make it happen for you, whatever that is, but here in this community, like, we get to show up for each other and get to show up in your brightest and most brilliant way and really cultivate those gifts within you. So I'm interested to hear what your plans are for this year. Like, what are the gifts that you're going to bring? How are you going to show up to it? And how we can support you in doing that. Because that's what we want to be about. We want to be about the demonstration. That's what I'm about this year. And so I'm going to open up the conversation. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more tips and tools on how to be a spiritual vixen, go on over to my website, MaureenMuldoon.com, and you can sign up for my love notes. Until then, I'm Maureen Muldoon, the spiritual vixen, reminding you to love more, fear less, and don't forget to laugh.